Liberation Day, waiting for a long time.
There was a huge ruling just coming down from the Supreme Court, and this is one that we have been waiting on as far as the fate of President Trump's trade agenda and whether or not, well, how the Supreme Court viewed the tariffs, the emergency tariff ruling. Well, the word we just got from the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court is going against the White House in this case and ruling that President Trump's authority to impose global tariffs was unlawful.
This is $100 billion not spent, returned. After the Supreme Court threw out Donald Trump's tariffs, his administration quietly started paying the money back. $100 billion refunded to the businesses that paid it. Apple got $2.2 billion. Amazon got $600 million. And you, the person who paid those tariffs, every time prices jumped at the store, there is no refund form for you. There is no program. Tonight, where $100 billion actually went and why he's already running the same play again.
For consumers, this will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly. We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Where are you, J.D.? No, that wasn't too hard to find. I was looking, you know, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so it'd usually be sitting right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike.
April 2nd, 2025. He calls it Liberation Day, the biggest tariffs in almost a century. He promises a golden age and swears other countries are paying the bill.
We're very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great.
Here's who actually paid. The Nonpartisan Tax Foundation put it at about $700 per household. For the tariffs later ruled illegal, all tariffs combined, about $1,000 a year. $166 billion collected from more than 330,000 American importers, not China, American companies who passed it straight to you.
Make the numbers work. If you've been to the gas pump or the grocery store recently, you know it firsthand. Fox 13's Dan Griffin takes a closer look at the study and what shoppers say they're seeing now.
People we've talked with say it is getting more difficult to make ends meet. They're changing what they buy and they're looking for sales.
It's just been climbing and climbing. There hasn't been any relief for anybody.
Outside Fred Meyer in Ballard, Rebecca Muscatel knows you need a strategy to save. A new study from Washington Roundtable and Kinetic West says Washington State is the 5th most expensive place in America, with prices rising faster than any other state. And
then the whole thing hit a wall called the Supreme Court, February 20th, 2026. 6-3, even his own.
Our chief legal correspondent authority to impose global tariffs was unlawful. I want to get to Katie Barlow. She obviously has been following this very closely as our chief legal correspondent and is at the Supreme Court. Joining us with more, we do not have Katie. All right, well, we will come back to you with Katie and more on what this ruling means. But what we're also doing is keeping a very close eye on the markets right now and how much they may or may not be moving because of this, because there was a lot of questions as to how this would impact the global economy. Obviously, you have the impact on the White House right now, and if the president unilaterally could announce tariffs, and the Supreme Court with this morning's ruling is essentially saying that no, he can't.
The president cannot tax America with a pen stroke, only Congress can, and everything collected under that law, it has to come back. So the money came back. By August, Customs and Border Protection had refunded roughly $100 billion with interest. The biggest importers were at the front of the line.
The U.S. government has refunded more than $100 billion to a number of companies for tariffs they paid after the Supreme Court ruled the tariffs were illegal, according to a court filing this week. Apple got about $2.2 billion back last quarter. Amazon, $600 million. Nike, $300 million.
$175 billion from you through tariffs that...
Now, to be fair, that's the Treasury Secretary being honest about how refunds work. The law pays the importer of record. That's who the government owed. What happens next is a choice, and most companies made their choice. Prices went up in days. They are not coming down. Apple booked its refund as profit margin. Most companies called it an earnings boost. Walmart and Costco promised price cuts under pressure. And shoppers, they're suing Walmart, Nike, Nintendo, arguing that you paid those tariffs at the register, so the refund is partly yours. No court has agreed yet.
And now it's at risk. This is one of the very first Busy Baby mats. Like this. All right. So the mat I glued. We figured out how to get those suction cups embedded so that it lays flat, and then it comes with the straps that just poke in through the hole. So a lot of small businesses like me have used multiple different brokers over the years to bring their products into the US. Larger companies like Costco have departments that manage that. You know, here I am filling orders, doing all the marketing,
And for small businesses, the refund came late after the layoffs.
Between the U.S. and Canada. In a surprise move, President Trump signed an order which would impose 50% punitive tariffs on most Canadian goods entering the U.S. It's set to take effect in 30 days. It could just be another negotiating tactic. Trump is claiming it's retaliation for Canada fighting back against previous tariffs he imposed, such as removing U.S. alcohol.
Which brings us to right now, 50% tariffs on Canada under Section 338, a 1930 law no president has ever used. 25 states are already suing, calling it the same illegal tax in a new suit.
He said
Canada just answered dollar for dollar starting September 8th. And if this round gets struck down too, guess who waits in line again with no refund form?
Last evening, I suspended trade negotiations with the United States and directed our negotiators to return to Ottawa. I want to thank.
Here's the part Washington doesn't want to say out loud. $100 billion came back, and the system worked exactly as designed for the companies that paid, not the people who carried it. The courts can order money returned. They can't make it reach your pocket. So here's my question. If the Supreme Court says only Congress can tax you, should every tariff refund legally flow through to the people who paid it at the register? Tell me where you land in the comments. And subscribe. Canada's counter-tariff list drops soon, and we'll show you exactly who gets hit.